Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So we've just had a look at the Statcounter desktop browser market share between January and February of this year. Video will be linked. And now it's time to have a look at the desktop Windows version market share for January and February of this year. Now, out of the top 6 Windows versions featured by Statcounter, 5 have increased in market share and 1 has decreased in its market share. And the only one to have decreased in its market share is Windows 10. And I think that's because the end of support is fast approaching for Windows 10 on the 14th of October, later this year. But first of all, just moving to the back and starting with Windows 8 to compare the percentages. Windows 8 in January was 0.16%. In February has increased to 0.22%. Windows XP still keeps surprising us. Has increased from 0.27 to 0.29%. And Windows 8.1 has increased from 0.3 to 0.31%. And Windows XP, just to do a quick comparison between these two, Windows XP, as mentioned, keeps surprising because it could soon be used more than Windows 8.1, although it is an older operating system. And Windows XP still remains a very popular OS, and I have very fond memories of using Windows XP. Then Windows 7 has increased from 2.24% to 2.3%. Give or take, stays very stagnant from month to month. Still also remains very popular. And Windows 11 has seen, give or take, a 2% increase from 36.6% to 38%. So I think the reason for this, obviously, it goes without saying that Windows 10 is reaching its end of service and support later this year. So users are migrating over to Windows 11, be it ever so slowly. And of course, now every device you purchase, any laptop as an example you purchase now will have Windows 11 pre-installed. So that's a big factor, I think, in regards to that increase in market share. And then Windows 10, as mentioned, was the only one to decrease from 60.37% to 58.83%. So that's give or take a 2% decrease. So Windows 11, 2% up. Windows 10, 2% down, give or take, which I think is very interesting. Now, while we are talking about Windows 10 and Windows 11, if we head to the chart, just to do a year-on-year comparison here, because if we move to January 2024, Windows 10 was 66.47%. If we move to January 2025, was on 60.33%. So that's give or take a 6% decrease between January 2024 and January 2025. And if we head to Windows 11, Windows 11 was 27.83% in January 2024 and has moved to 36.65%. So that's give or take a 7% increase, which I thought was interesting. So Windows 11's market share has increased more than Windows 10 has dropped by give or take 1%. So I thought that was interesting. And just your others right at the bottom here, not much movement overall on those so-called out of support operating systems. And we can actually see in this chart that from April 2024, Windows 10 has steadily overall decreased. We had a little bit of an up here in November and December, but we can see has dipped down. And the opposite is with Windows 11. From April, it has steadily increased. We had a bit of a blip down, but we can see it's on the up again. So very interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see where these are, give or take, when Windows 10 end of support reaches us in October. So that's our desktop Windows version market share percentages by Statcounter for February 2025. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.